having a greater scientific input into foreign policy. I think it's a very understandable concern. It doesn't, I don't think the answer is so much in lateral entry. I think we have already a practice that in important embassies we have something called a science counselor. So I know we have one in Japan, in US, in Moscow, etc. If I can give you a parallel, it would be like the military side, where if you induct somebody into the foreign service, you cannot be sure that they continue to remain conversant or sharp about their domain expertise. It's better to actually work with the other institution and get, in a sense, the best or the most competitive talent from there. So to deal with military issues, in fact, we have a very mature system of what we call defense attachés or military advisors, and we use them very, very extensively. In fact, we are expanding that in current times. In the case of science, there are some embassies where we have DRDO rep. There are some where we have atomic energy representative. I would say the solution is to create more complex embassies, where a certain core work is done by the foreign service, but there are many other dimensions where you graft a skill onto what is a vehicle, rather than try to grow it organically in your system. I don't believe it would be that efficient. On dual citizenship, people keep debating it. Right now, that the last time the government of India made a decision was when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister. At that time, we came up with the OCI system. Since then, I think the debate continues, but I'm not aware of any imminent or any direction which really takes it forward where dual citizenship is concerned, because there are, we know the plus points, but I can tell you there are also some challenges which come with dual citizenship. Even with OCI there are restrictions. So there are some things you can do and some things that you cannot do. On sustainability, absolutely. I don't think it's anybody's case that we pursue manufacturing or industrialization in a manner in which previous countries who are today big manufacturing powers pursued. I don't think the planet can sustain it. So we have to, when I was saying that what kind of power will we be, that also, by the way, applies to what kind of economy will we be. Because we cannot grow the way the West grew. We cannot grow the way China. So we have to find our way. So in many cases, if we focus on the sunrise sectors that I spoke about, they are environmentally actually less damaging or less stressful than the traditional industrialization manufacturing. But that's only one part of it. I think again, it's interesting. Many of the big ideas today about how to be kinder to the planet are actually coming out of India. The biggest move to spread solar energy was actually the International Solar Alliance, which Prime Minister Modi proposed in COP21 in Paris. Even now, I'm now taking it from a big concept into something very, very practical to hit the ground, you can say. This whole idea of Surya Ghar Yojana, the idea that everybody will have rooftop solar generation, and that houses will actually reduce their consumption and if you can actually tie this to an era of electric vehicles, you can even actually deal with charging stations in a much more distributed fashion. So, it's important we try to think through solutions today. Again, one recurring event, we are seeing more and more climate events, okay, in the world. In fact, I would put that as a very big risk today for the international economy. Now, it makes sense today that we actually plan for it rather than react to it. So again, this idea that we build for disaster resilience, that those on the coast build for higher sea levels, people more likely to be hit by cyclones or more likely to be hit by landslides, or those on the hills. So how do you actually configure your life through standards, through policies, through laws and regulations for actually this kind of thing? Or I give you two very different examples, they're very small examples, but if you actually do it, I can tell you, given our population, take this advocacy of millets, okay? I think it will surprise some of you to know that till the mid-60s, there were parts of India where nobody had eaten wheat or rice. But the only grain that they ate, in fact, I have been to parts of India where people had not even seen wheat till the mid-60s when it came in as PL 480 because we had 4 or 5 years of rain failure. What happened? What happened was very large parts of India abandoned the consumption of what was the traditional grain. Okay? I mean, this is ragi country. Okay? People gave up on ragi and shifted to wheat and to rice. Now, here's the difference. If you look at millets, look at the water consumption, look at the nutrition. By every logic, we actually should have been eating millets. But, okay, history took a different turn. But today we have a chance to correct it. Now, you can say, okay, this is India. It's an interesting thing. Once I started propagating millets, because Prime Minister Modi said International Year of Millets, you would be surprised how many African countries actually eat millets. That's another 1.4 billion people out there now, together. So just think about it. A shift to something as, as basic as move your primary grain, it will have a huge sustainability consequence. So even this initiative which Mr. Modi pushes for life, which is make small changes in your life. I mean, I at least do one. I take staircases as much as I can. It's a small thing. I mean, the collateral benefit is you'll also be fitter. But if you actually look at all the little things that we can all do, rainwater harvesting in your house, in villages. We had this big campaign last year, the year before, called Amrit Sarovar. Okay. We asked every village of India, saying, can you actually create 75 water bodies? Okay, sorry, not every village, every district of India. Okay. Can you create 75 water bodies in your district? Big ones, small ones. And by the way, it's very interesting. I mean, when you people travel next in the countryside, take a look. You will actually find in India abandoned water body. There will be a depression, which used to be a water body once upon a time. Sometimes there are even steps going down, and it's dry. Now, again, it's brilliant in its simplicity, but it actually works. 750 districts of India, each one doing 75 Amrit Sarovars. We actually ended up with 50,000 water bodies, new water bodies in the course of 1 year. So the next time that I think we need to keep thinking this through and coming up with what are solutions. And I absolutely agree with you, which is why today, as I said, the semiconductors, electric vehicles, And we need today not to be behind. You know. We've lost out on a few revolutions. This one, like we could show during vaccines, we are showing in telecom. This coming revolution, the age of AI, chips and EV, we need today to be up there. The last question on the manufacturing and tech. Look, I think it's a common sense proposition today. You said tomorrow's technology will come out of today's manufacturing. But if our problem is actually we have made manufacturing very difficult in this country. That to have a competitive manufacturing industry, we have to have easier to do business. We have to have the infrastructure. We have to make it, the regulatory, the burden of rules on business, and we have to stop being hostile to business. Business is an employment creator, because sometimes in this country it's very fashionable to beat up on business. When we look at business, we should actually think employment. How many people is this person employing? So, how do we actually, I would approach it saying, to me one metric today would be really how do I focus on employment and how do I focus on talent, technology creation, and that is why I said I was very happy that somebody was introduced saying they had 5 patents to the name. See, that was the direction we should be going.